We'll see where things stand here on the last day of August as we welcome in Dave Pagnotta, editor-in-chief of the Fourth Period. Where are we at as far as the Eichel Sabres saga? Any movement?
A little bit of progress on this front. At the very least, Pat Brisson, his new agent, is helping to smooth things over, at least in terms of trying to create some type of movement here from a transactional perspective. Now, we know with training camp starting in about 3 weeks or so, that likely means he will not be ready for the start of the season, regardless of what type of surgery he ultimately ends up happening. He still needs surgery to repair his herniated discs in his neck. So as they continue to go through that process, Pat Brisson and the crew over at CAA are going to assist in trying to facilitate some type of move here, hopefully by the regular season. So as this progresses, the Sabres obviously focusing on this and other areas, but they're hoping that with this type of movement, at least from the agent perspective, that this will help facilitate a move and speed up this process. And I suspect once we cross over into September and right after Labor Day long weekend, that we're going to see some conversations starting to pick up and percolate a little bit more as we inch closer to the start of camps.
All right, we love the drama there. We also love the drama that's going on with the offer sheet and Jesperi Kotkaniemi. Let's say Montreal decides, we're not going to match it. You can go off to Carolina. What are their options going forward?
Well, that's what they're looking at. And before they make that decision, they want to make sure that they've got their options on the table in terms of where they're at from a center perspective. Obviously, they have Nick Suzuki up the middle, but Kotkaniemi was supposed to be coming in as their 2C. And if they let him walk, they've got to make sure they're in a position to bring somebody in that can help them from that perspective. Right now, they're looking at what their options are. They're looking around the league at guys like Christian Dvorak of the Arizona Coyotes, Tomas Hertl of the San Jose Sharks, perhaps Evgeny Kuznetsov, whom they've had discussions about from the Washington Capitals in the past. Perhaps those have begun again to see exactly what it would take to make something work. Now, if they do get a first-round pick and a third by accepting or effectively letting Kotkaniemi go to Carolina, they get those picks back. They can use that as currency to try to facilitate another move. Now, I know you got the three names up there that I mentioned. There's also people talking about the possibility of putting those picks in a package for Jack Eichel. I don't know if Buffalo really wants to keep him in the East, let alone in the same division. But those seem to be three options that the Canadians are taking a look at this stage to see, can they make this work? They have until Saturday. If they can maneuver their way into making that type of deal and utilizing some of the assets coming back, the first and the third, as compensation for letting Kotkaniemi walk, then I think they're more comfortable in making that move. If they don't, they might have no other choice but to match and keep him in the fold in Montreal.
Interesting. We'll wait on that decision. Training camps start in less than a month. Hockey fans super pumped about that. That means teams starting to really focus in on maybe signing guys, locking them up, extending them before the start of the season. What are you hearing out there as far as some names and teams that we need to keep our eye on this week?
Yeah, certainly with things getting after that Labor Day weekend, we're going to start to see a lot of teams looking at their potential free agents, guys that are in the final year of their contracts and seeing, all right, how do we make something work here? We don't want you to go into the season without a new deal. One team to look at is Los Angeles Kings. They've got a couple guys, the longtime star for them in Dustin Brown, who's on an expiring contract, but also their goaltender, Cal Peterson, is entering the season in his final year. He could be a UFA. He's going to be 27 before the start of the season, and he could be an unrestricted free agent if they don't get something ironed up in L.A. Now, they had preliminary discussions before the free agency market got underway in July. They've taken some time off and have made a decision that once we get into September, that those conversations will begin again and start to get a little bit more fluid. They want to have Cal Peterson locked up long term. Cal certainly likes his time in LA, and it's clear that he is the number one there with Jonathan Quick supplementing him from the backup perspective. This is their next guy. This is their goaltender moving forward. They want to get him locked in, and they're going to have those discussions in the next few weeks here to try to get a multi-year long-term deal actually locked in with Cal Peterson to be their number one for the foreseeable future.
Teams are focused. You're dialed in, too. I saw that fly buzzing the tower there right by your face. Locked in, delivering the insight that we always count on. Dave, thanks so much. Enjoy what's left of the offseason. We'll talk to you soon.